Humanity's Titan-class warship freezes as a shadow crosses the chamber in the first alien encounter. The Horizon Vanguard drifted quietly through the black emptiness of space. It was massive, a Titan-class warship built for humanity's first real journey beyond the safety of the solar system. Its hull gleamed under the faint light of distant stars, and inside, the ship was alive with the hum of machinery and the quiet chatter of a busy crew. Every person aboard knew they were part of history. No human had ever been this far from Earth in a ship like this, not with such a purpose. Captain Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge, looking out at the endless darkness. His face was calm, though his mind was alert. He had commanded ships before, but nothing like this. This ship carried humanity's hope, their pride, and perhaps their first contact with another intelligent species. He had to be steady. The crew relied on him to keep order, to make decisions that could save or destroy them. "Captain, sensors are picking up something unusual," said Commander Olivia Grant, her voice steady but carrying a hint of curiosity. She leaned over the console, her fingers moving quickly across the controls. Olivia had been with Daniel for years, and he trusted her instincts more than anyone else on board. "It's hard to explain. A massive structure, not on any charts. It's orbiting a dead star in the system ahead." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "A derelict station?" he asked. "Possibly," Olivia said, "or something older. The readings are unlike anything we've ever seen." Dr. Ethan Carter, the ship's xenobiologist, walked over, excitement in his steps. "Older than us, you mean?" His eyes shone with curiosity. "This could be alien. We may be looking at the first evidence of a civilization beyond our own." Daniel nodded slowly. "Maybe, but we proceed with caution. We don't know what's waiting for us." The bridge fell quiet as the crew considered the possibilities. The Horizon Vanguard was not just a ship, it was a statement. Humanity had built it to explore, to defend itself if necessary, and to show the galaxy they were strong. Yet, in this moment, the crew felt the smallness of their presence against the vastness of space. The ship moved closer to the strange structure. From the sensors, it looked enormous, far larger than the Horizon Vanguard itself. Its surface was smooth but angular, like nothing human engineering could produce. It glowed faintly in the darkness, with light reflecting off its edges in soft patterns that shifted as the ship approached. Daniel turned to his crew. "We'll enter orbit and begin scans. No unnecessary risks. I want to know what we're dealing with before we try to board or explore." "Yes, sir," Olivia replied, her hands already adjusting the instruments to scan for life forms, energy sources, and structural integrity. Lieutenant Megan Ross, at the communications console, frowned. "Captain, I'm picking up strange signals. They're not languages we recognize, but there's a pattern. It's rhythmic, almost like it's trying to communicate." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Trying to communicate with whom?" Megan shrugged. "I don't know, maybe us." Ryan Cole, the chief Marine commander, stood near the doorway, arms crossed. He was practical, always thinking about danger. "Captain, whatever this is, we need to be ready. The last thing we want is to get trapped inside a giant alien death trap." Daniel gave him a small nod. "We'll be ready, but remember, we're explorers first, soldiers second." The Horizon Vanguard moved into orbit. The sensors mapped the structure, revealing that it was not a station in the way humans understood. It was a vast chamber, hollow inside, big enough to contain the warship itself with space to spare. The walls shimmered faintly, with strange geometric patterns etched into them. Daniel felt a chill run through him. The scale of it was overwhelming. "Daniel," Olivia said, pointing at the display, "there's an opening large enough for us to enter." "Open a channel to the exploration team," Daniel ordered. "We go in slowly, all systems on alert. Stay sharp, everyone." The ship edged forward, moving into the chamber. Inside, the darkness was thick, yet faint glows reflected off the walls. The Horizon Vanguard's lights reached out, illuminating strange shapes that seemed to float in the distance. The crew could feel the size of the space pressing around them, as if the chamber itself were alive. Ethan leaned close to the viewport. "Look at that," he whispered. "It's massive. Some of these structures look like towers, but they don't make sense." "Geometry I've never seen before." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Keep your focus, scan everything. We don't know what's here." As the ship moved further into the chamber, the lights flickered. The hum of the engines changed pitch. Then, suddenly, all systems froze. The Horizon Vanguard shuddered slightly as the lights dimmed. The crew gasped. "What the hell?" Ryan muttered, gripping a console. Daniel's voice cut through the tension. Stay calm, everyone, report your status. Engines offline, Olivia said. Power levels dropping. Weapons and shields are down. Life support is flickering, Megan added. Her voice wavered slightly. We're still breathing, but... Daniel's mind raced. A ship this large, built with the most advanced technology, was now helpless. Something beyond human understanding had frozen it. Ethan, anything on sensors? Ethan's face turned pale. There's nothing, no energy readings, no movement detectable. It's like we're blind. And yet, he hesitated, I feel watched. A shadow moved across the wall. Not a shadow of the ship, not from their lights. It was darker than the darkness around it, stretching across the chamber. Every crew member noticed it. Even Ryan, who rarely showed fear, stepped back. Daniel clenched his fists. What is that? I don't know, Olivia said. It doesn't match any pattern I've ever seen. It's huge. The shadow shifted, flowing across the walls like a living thing. It was not solid, but it had presence. The air seemed to grow colder, though the chamber was in vacuum. The crew could only watch, frozen in place, as the darkness moved. Megan tried the comm system. I'll try sending a signal. Maybe it's intelligent. Maybe it can understand us. Daniel shook his head. Do it, but don't expect it to work. We don't know what we're dealing with. Megan typed rapidly, sending simple patterns of math, light, and sound. She broadcasted the human heartbeat as a signal, hoping it would register as life. The shadow paused for a moment, then seemed to pulse slightly, almost like a response. Ethan's eyes widened. It's reacting. Somehow it's reacting. Daniel exhaled slowly. Stay focused. Keep scanning, keep recording. We don't know if it's friendly or hostile. The ship remained frozen in the middle of the chamber. The shadow moved slowly, deliberately, as if it were measuring them. Its size was impossible to gauge, but the pressure it brought was undeniable. The crew felt the weight of its gaze. Ryan gritted his teeth. Captain, we can't fight it, not like this. Weapons are useless, shields are useless, we're sitting ducks. Daniel nodded. Then we adapt. We survive, that's all we can do right now. Ethan leaned closer to the viewport. It's beautiful in a terrifying way. Look at the patterns, the scale, it's like it's alive, but not like anything we know. This thing has existed for centuries, maybe millennia. Daniel studied the shadow, trying to understand. It doesn't attack, it just watches. Maybe it's testing us, or maybe it wants something. But what? The crew waited in tense silence. Time seemed to stretch, seconds dragging into minutes. Then a low vibration passed through the ship. Not loud, not destructive, but noticeable. The shadow shifted again, slowly crossing the chamber. The movement seemed purposeful, almost ceremonial. Olivia spoke softly. It's communicating without words, but we can't understand it. Not yet. Daniel's hands rested on the console. He knew they were at a crossroads. One wrong move, one sudden action could provoke it. But if they did nothing, they would remain trapped, vulnerable. Humanity had never faced a being like this. And yet he knew one thing for sure. Humans did not give up, not without trying. Everyone, he said, voice firm. We hold our ground, we record everything, we observe, we do not provoke. Our survival depends on patience and courage, and maybe understanding. The crew nodded. Even Ryan, who rarely showed emotion beyond annoyance, gave a small, tight nod. Ethan's fingers hovered over the console, ready to record every detail. Megan kept sending signals, hoping the shadow could comprehend their presence. Olivia monitored the alien structure, looking for any sign of weakness, any chance to move. And the shadow continued to move. Slowly, gracefully, across the chamber, its form shifting in the dim glow. It was immense, unknowable, yet deliberate. It stopped briefly, then passed out of sight on the far side of the chamber. The crew of the Horizon Vanguard could only watch, frozen, hearts pounding, minds racing. They were the first humans to encounter this presence. And in that moment, they realized that space was far larger, far older, and far more powerful than they had ever imagined. Captain Daniel Brooks stared at the viewport, thinking about humanity, about their history of struggle, invention, and survival. About how fragile they were and yet how stubborn. Whatever this shadow was, it had not destroyed them. It had not spoken, but it had judged. And humanity, he realized, would have to prove itself worthy. The Horizon Vanguard waited, silent and alive, in the presence of something that might be far older than Earth itself. And the crew waited with it, hearts pounding, minds alert, ready for whatever would come next. The chamber was dark, the shadow gone for now, but the air seemed to hum with anticipation. The first contact had begun, and humanity had no idea what was waiting. The Horizon Vanguard floated silently inside the alien chamber. Its engines hummed faintly, and emergency lights cast long shadows across the deck. The crew moved cautiously, their eyes on every console, every viewport. The shadow had vanished for now, leaving only the memory of its immense presence. Captain Daniel Brooks leaned on the command rail, his face tense but calm. "We've observed, we've recorded, and we've survived the first encounter," he said. "Now we need to understand what we're dealing with. Olivia, status report." Commander Olivia Grant turned from the main console. "All systems are stabilizing, Captain. Life support is at 75%. Engines are back to minimal functionality. Weapons remain offline. Scans are showing unusual energy patterns within the chamber, but nothing solid, no material objects, only the shadow's signature, if we can call it that." "Signature?" Daniel asked. "It's not like anything human," Olivia said. "It doesn't have mass like a ship or a solid structure, but it has energy, a presence, something alive but different." Dr. Ethan Carter, who had been leaning over a console with his sensors, straightened. "I think it's intelligent. Whatever it is, it reacts to our presence. When we sent signals earlier, it pulsed back. I'm almost certain it understands us, though not like a human would. More visually, emotionally." Lieutenant Megan Ross nodded, her hands hovering over the communication console. "I've tried sending more signals. Patterns, lights, even rhythmic pulses. Each time it reacts differently. Sometimes it pauses, sometimes it moves closer, sometimes it seems to withdraw." Ryan Cole, the chief Marine commander, grunted from his station. "So we can't shoot it, can't trap it, can't run from it." "That's great, just what we needed, an invisible, enormous, possibly intelligent thing." Daniel ignored the sarcasm. "Then we adapt, we learn, that's all we can do right now. Ethan, keep monitoring. Megan, keep sending signals. Olivia, track every movement in the chamber. Ryan, make sure the crew is ready if anything goes wrong." "Yes, sir," they said in unison. For hours, the Horizon Vanguard drifted in the chamber. The shadow appeared sporadically, sometimes crossing the viewport slowly, other times disappearing altogether. The crew began noticing patterns. It seemed curious, testing them. Every time they tried something new, a signal, a movement, a sound, it responded differently. Ethan stared at the console. "Captain, I think it's creating tests. It's not attacking, but it's checking our reactions." "Look at this." He pointed to a series of energy spikes on the display. "Every time we do something, it generates changes in the chamber. Gravity shifts slightly, energy surges, and temperature fluctuations. It's like a puzzle we have to solve." Daniel rubbed his chin. "A test, okay? Then we don't fight, we think, we adapt." Megan tried a new approach. She sent a simple pattern, a pulse matching the frequency of a human heartbeat, repeated in a rhythm that suggested life and calmness. The shadow paused and seemed to linger near the ship longer than before. "It's listening," Megan whispered. "Or sensing us," Ryan frowned. "Listening, sensing, testing, whatever, it's still enormous. We can't predict what it'll do next." Daniel nodded. "That's why we stay calm. Every move counts. If we panic, we fail." The next shift in the chamber was sudden. The lights flickered as the shadow returned, larger now, filling more of the viewport. Its shape was hard to define. Sometimes it looked like smoke, sometimes like liquid metal, and sometimes like something alive. The crew felt a pressure in their chests, as if the chamber itself were breathing. Olivia's voice was steady but quiet. "It's moving deliberately, Captain. It wants to be noticed." Daniel swallowed. "Then we make ourselves understood. Megan, send another signal. Ethan, record everything. Olivia, monitor energy changes. Ryan, stand by in case we need to secure the ship manually." The crew worked in tense silence. Megan sent a complex pattern of lights and sounds, trying to show their intent. Ethan mapped the energy responses, trying to understand the logic. Olivia tracked the movement of the shadow, noting every pause and pulse. Ryan inspected the hull and critical systems, making sure the ship could survive sudden changes. Hours passed like minutes. The shadow pulsed again, sending vibrations through the ship. This time it was stronger. Systems flickered under the pressure, but nothing critical failed. Ethan's sensors registered a new pattern. "Captain," Ethan said, voice tight with excitement. "It's repeating something, a rhythm. I think it's trying to communicate back in a pattern, not words, not language, but rhythm. It's learning from us." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Then we respond carefully, show intelligence, patience, and calmness, nothing aggressive." Megan adjusted the signal. She synchronized her pulses with the shadow's rhythm, creating a slow, deliberate exchange. Slowly, the chamber seemed to respond. Gravity stabilized, lights brightened, and the air pressure normalized. The crew felt a relief they could not explain. Ryan let out a low whistle. "I don't like it, but it's working for now." Ethan smiled faintly. "Captain, this may be the first step. It's testing our ability to adapt, to survive, and to communicate without aggression. This is why we were built to explore." Daniel nodded. "Then we continue, observe, respond, survive." Suddenly, the chamber shifted. Walls of light appeared along the edges of the shadow, forming geometric patterns that were alien but strangely beautiful. The crew was silent, staring at the shapes. Ethan's eyes widened. "It's showing us history, or its memory. Look at these patterns, their events, cycles, constructions, something intelligent beyond imagination." Megan added, "It's like it's telling us a story without words. We're watching it unfold in energy and light." Olivia leaned over the console. "Captain, these patterns are massive. They move like landscapes, cities, and machines, but not ours. And yet there is a rhythm almost like life." Daniel felt a weight in his chest. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now in this chamber the answer was clear: they were not. And yet the shadow had not attacked. It was observing, learning, testing them. Hours became a blur. The crew worked tirelessly, coordinating responses, trying new signals, recording every pulse, every shift in energy. They began to notice subtle changes. The chamber seemed to respond more predictably, as if the shadow were adjusting to them. Ethan whispered to Daniel, "Captain, it's almost like it's teaching us, or at least showing us that it notices intelligence." Daniel nodded slowly. "Then we must show that we are worthy, not by weapons or force, but by patience, creativity, and understanding." Megan tried a new signal, one combining sound, light, and a small harmonic vibration through the ship's hull. The shadow reacted instantly, shifting closer, almost touching the hull with its energy. The crew could feel a gentle pressure, not dangerous but undeniably powerful. Ryan muttered, "If that thing wanted to crush us, we'd be nothing. It doesn't, yet." Daniel's voice was calm but firm. "Exactly, and that gives us a chance to show what humanity is capable of." Ethan leaned over the console, tracing the patterns with his fingers. "Look at this. It's creating small tests inside the chamber. Gravity shifts, energy flows, movement of light. Every time we respond correctly, it stabilizes. Every time we hesitate or react poorly, the patterns fluctuate more violently." Daniel exhaled slowly. "Then we learn. Every response, every calculation, every choice counts. That's our weapon, adaptation. Humanity survives by learning, by solving problems, by working together." The crew worked in perfect coordination. Megan sent signals, Ethan decoded the patterns, Olivia monitored the energy flows, and Ryan kept the crew ready for emergencies. Daniel oversaw it all, making careful decisions, ensuring that fear did not override logic. As they continued, the shadow pulsed one last time for the cycle. The chamber filled with light, bright and warm, not harsh. The pressure lifted slightly. The crew felt as if the chamber itself acknowledged them. Ethan whispered, voice trembling with awe, "It's approving. Some part of it's satisfied with us." Daniel nodded, though he did not smile. "We've survived the first true contact. And we've shown what humanity can do when calm, focused, and united." Megan let out a quiet laugh. "I didn't think we'd make it through the night." Ryan chuckled lowly. "Neither did I, but here we are, still breathing, still alive." Olivia adjusted the console. "Captain, I'm reading stabilization across the chamber. The energy fluctuations are settling. The shadow, it's withdrawing slightly, not gone, but observing from a distance now." Daniel exhaled. "Good, prepare a report. We record everything, every pulse, every shift, every response. This is history, and we survived it together." The crew worked in a focused silence, exhausted but proud. For the first time, they realized that their weapons were not what kept them alive. Their minds, their courage, and their ability to adapt had won this trial. Outside the viewport, the shadow lingered on the edge of the chamber. It did not leave. It observed, patient and immense. Daniel watched it, a feeling of awe and respect washing over him. Humanity had made its first contact with something beyond comprehension, and somehow they had survived. And somewhere deep inside the chamber, the shadow waited, not hostile but not entirely understood. The first step had been taken. The test had begun. Humanity had been noticed. The Horizon Vanguard had been drifting inside the alien chamber for hours, and the crew had grown used to the shadow's presence. Yet, a sense of tension never left them. The massive entity did not attack, but it tested them constantly. It seemed to know what each of them could do, how they thought, and how they reacted under pressure. Captain Daniel Brooks stood on the bridge, watching the chamber through the massive viewport. The shadow moved in slow, deliberate patterns. Its form changed constantly, like liquid smoke and shifting lights, almost alive. Every time it paused, it seemed to measure the ship, the crew, and even Daniel himself. Olivia Grant, the tactical officer, tapped her fingers on the console. "Captain, the patterns are changing." The shadow is creating fluctuations in the chamber. Gravity is shifting slightly, energy readings spike randomly. It's more intense than before. Daniel's eyes narrowed. "So it's escalating. We need to be ready for anything, Doctor." Ethan Carter leaned over the console, analyzing the energy flows. "Captain, these fluctuations are not harmful yet, but they are increasing in complexity. It's like it's building a challenge. Each time we respond, the next one is more complicated. It's testing our problem-solving ability." Megan Ross at the communications console frowned. "I've tried sending signals again. I synchronized them with the last pattern, but the shadow is ignoring the rhythm now. It's changing the rules." Ryan Cole, the Marine commander, rubbed his jaw. "That's great. Now it's actively trying to mess with us. Fantastic." Daniel ignored the sarcasm. "No panicking. We adapt. That's all we can do. Ethan, keep tracking the changes." Megan, continue sending signals but focus on simplicity. Olivia, monitor every environmental fluctuation. Ryan, prep emergency procedures if the ship fails. "Yes, sir," they said, their voices firm but tense. The first real challenge came suddenly. The floor of the ship shifted subtly, almost imperceptibly at first. Gravity in the chamber changed, and the Horizon Vanguard tilted slightly. Crew members staggered, holding on to consoles and rails. Alarms flashed briefly. Systems flickered under the stress, and even life support struggled to compensate. "Gravity is fluctuating," Olivia shouted. "It's not stable." Ryan barked orders to the Marines. "Secure yourself, brace all movable equipment. This could get worse." Ethan's hands flew over the sensors. "The shadow is manipulating the chamber itself. It's testing our stability, our ability to adapt under physical stress. Captain, if it increases, we could lose control of the ship's balance." Daniel gritted his teeth. "Then we counter it. Adjust thrusters manually, redistribute mass, and keep systems online. Everyone stay calm. Panic will kill us faster than this chamber." The crew scrambled, moving with precision. Megan adjusted the ship's orientation using the limited control they had. Olivia rerouted power from non-essential systems to compensate for the fluctuations. Ryan coordinated teams to secure every part of the deck. Ethan monitored the gravity waves, predicting the next pulse. Hours passed as the chamber continued its challenge. The shadow moved in arcs, pulsing with energy that affected every system on board. Each time the crew adapted, the shadow paused, almost as if measuring the effectiveness of their responses. Daniel looked around the bridge, seeing determination on every face. "We're not giving up," he said quietly. "We survive, we adapt. That's humanity's strength, not weapons, not size, not raw power, ingenuity, courage, cooperation." Ethan's eyes lit up. "Captain, I've noticed something. Each time we respond correctly, the energy stabilizes slightly. It's like it's acknowledging our success." Megan's fingers flew over the console. "Then we keep doing it, one step at a time. Show it that we're learning, that we can handle whatever it throws at us." The shadow intensified its challenge next. Energy pulses filled the chamber, hitting the ship's hull with invisible force. The walls glowed with strange light, and the viewport shimmered. Crew members were thrown against consoles, though none were seriously hurt. Alarms blared as systems struggled to compensate for the sudden pressure. "Hull integrity dropping," Olivia shouted. "We can't take too many more pulses like this." Ryan gritted his teeth. "Captain, we need a plan. We can't just react forever." Daniel nodded. "Then we anticipate." Ethan read the patterns, predict the next pulse. Megan, synchronize your signals with the predicted energy fluctuations. Olivia, adjust shields and power systems to counter the pressure. Ryan, keep the crew safe. The team worked in tense harmony, each action precise. The ship shuddered with every pulse, but slowly they began to stabilize. The shadow seemed to pause, lingering near the ship longer than usual, as if studying them. Ethan's voice was tense but excited. "Captain, it's responding." When we predict and adapt, the energy drops immediately. We're learning its pattern, Daniel nodded. Then we keep going. We show it that humanity can think, adapt, and survive. That's what it wants to see. For hours, they continued this struggle. The shadow created challenges that tested the ship, the systems, and the crew. Gravity shifts, energy surges, and strange light patterns filled the chamber. Yet every time the crew responded carefully, the system stabilized. Megan sent a new signal combining pulse patterns, light sequences, and subtle vibrations through the ship's hull. The shadow paused near the viewport, pulsing slowly. For the first time, it seemed almost curious. Daniel felt a cautious optimism. It's noticing us. It's not just testing strength, it's testing intelligence, patience, and cooperation. Humanity survives by thinking, not by striking first. Ethan leaned over the console, mapping the shadow's responses. Captain, it's almost teaching us, or showing us what it values. Observation, careful planning, and teamwork. Ryan shook his head slightly, still tense. If it wanted, it could crush us, but it doesn't. That gives us a chance to prove ourselves. The shadow's next test was more subtle. The air in the chamber seemed heavier. Systems functioned, but not smoothly. Alarms flashed occasionally. Crew members felt pressure on their chests as if the chamber itself were breathing. Olivia adjusted the console. Captain, it's affecting our perception. Not physically dangerous, but it's trying to distract us to see if we panic under mental stress. Daniel nodded. Then we focus, step by step, calm, measured responses, show intelligence, patience, and courage. That's humanity's weapon here. Ethan's eyes widened. Captain, it's responding to our calmness. The pulses are less violent when we remain collected. It's rewarding us for patience. Megan whispered. We've never dealt with anything like this before, but somehow we're doing it. Hours turned into a long cycle of tests. The crew adapted to every challenge. Gravity shifts were countered. Energy pulses were absorbed. Signals were synchronized. Light patterns were anticipated. And every time the shadow paused, watching, measuring, almost approving. Daniel watched the viewport as the enormous shadow floated near the far side of the chamber. It's testing humanity, not attacking, he said softly. It wants to see if we can survive without aggression, if we can think, adapt, and cooperate. Ryan let out a low whistle. Well, Captain, I'll admit it. I didn't think we'd last this long, but here we are still alive, still functioning. Ethan smiled faintly. Captain, I think it respects that, not fear, not strength, but intelligence and adaptation. Daniel nodded. Then we keep going. Show it what humans can do, one step at a time. As the hours passed, the shadow seemed to withdraw slightly. The chamber's energy stabilized. Gravity returned to normal. Systems regained full function, yet it lingered near the ship, massive, immense, and unknowable. Megan sent a final signal for the cycle, combining pulse, light, and rhythm. The shadow paused, then responded with a soft pulse of energy that rippled through the chamber. It was the closest thing the crew had to acknowledgement. Ethan leaned over the console, whispering, Captain, it's approving. Some part of it recognizes our intelligence and coordination. It's satisfied for now. Daniel exhaled slowly, his hands on the command rail. Then we survived the second challenge. And we've shown what humanity can do when calm, focused, and united. Not weapons, not size, but intelligence and courage. Outside the viewport, the shadow pulsed once more and retreated to the far end of the chamber. The crew of the Horizon Vanguard finally had a moment to breathe, to recover from the relentless trials. They had learned something profound. Survival depended not on strength, but on ingenuity, cooperation, and resilience. And somewhere in the shadows of the chamber, the entity waited, patient, observant, still testing, still measuring. Humanity had proven itself capable, but the challenge was far from over. Daniel Brooks looked at his crew, pride and resolve in his eyes. We're not finished yet. This is far from over. Whatever it wants next will be ready. Humanity adapts, humanity survives, and we will prove it again. The Horizon Vanguard drifted in the chamber, alive and intact, while the shadow lingered beyond the viewport. Humanity had passed the first true test. But the entity had more challenges ahead, and the crew knew that the next encounter could demand even more of them. For now, they had survived. And in that survival, they had shown the first glimmer of humanity's potential to stand among the giants of the stars. The Horizon Vanguard floated silently in the alien chamber. The crew had spent hours, maybe days, they could not tell, facing the tests of the massive shadow. Each challenge had pushed their strength, their courage, and their minds to the limit. Every system on the ship had been tested, every crew member had been challenged, and yet they had survived. Captain Daniel Brooks stood at the command rail, watching the shadow as it drifted near the far side of the chamber. Its form shifted constantly, flowing like smoke, pulsing with energy, and casting strange patterns of light across the deck. For the first time, it felt almost calm, not hostile, not threatening, but immense and aware. "Captain," Olivia Grant said, her voice quiet but steady, "the energy fluctuations are slowing. It's almost like it's observing but not testing for now. It's waiting." Daniel nodded slowly. "Then we prepare. Whatever comes next, we respond with intelligence and restraint. That's what has kept us alive so far. That's what will keep us alive now." Dr. Ethan Carter leaned over his console, his eyes wide. "Captain, the shadow, it's sending something. Energy pulses, light sequences, patterns I've never seen before. But there's a rhythm, it's deliberate. I think it's showing us something or giving us a message." Megan Ross at the communication console tapped rapidly, trying to interpret the sequences. "It's complex, but I think I can match the pulse patterns to mathematical signals. They're repeating in cycles. And every time we respond, it slows down, almost as if it's testing one last thing." Ryan Cole, arms crossed, muttered, "Last thing, huh? Feels like it's been testing us forever already." Daniel ignored the sarcasm. "Then we make it count. We respond calmly, intelligently, and in unison. This is our moment." The chamber shifted slightly. The shadow moved closer, immense and silent, until it seemed almost to fill the viewport. The crew felt pressure in the air, though the chamber was a vacuum. The lights flickered slightly, and the ship's hum was louder, almost as if it were resonating with the entity itself. Olivia spoke, her voice steady. "Captain, it's creating a final test. Gravity fluctuations, energy pulses, and light sequences all at once." This is the most complex challenge yet," Daniel nodded. "Then we face it together, every move counts, step by step, think, adapt, survive." Ethan's fingers flew over his console. "Captain, I've mapped the sequences. If we follow them exactly, we can stabilize the ship. But any mistake, it could trigger a collapse. We have to be perfect." Megan's eyes focused on the signals. "I can synchronize our transmissions with the pulses. If we do it right, the shadow will recognize our coordination. It's the only way." Ryan shook his head slightly. "All right, let's do this then, one last time." The crew took positions. Megan sent signals in precise patterns. Ethan monitored the chamber's energy flows. Olivia adjusted power and shields, compensating for every fluctuation. Ryan ensured the crew was secured and ready for anything. Daniel oversaw it all, calm and focused, coordinating each action. The chamber pulsed with energy. Gravity shifted violently, tossing unsecured objects. Lights flashed across the walls in chaotic patterns. The shadow moved with purpose, flowing like liquid smoke around the ship. The crew worked as one, responding to each shift, predicting each pulse, and adapting to every challenge. Hours, or maybe minutes, passed in tense synchronization. Every action mattered. Every mistake could be fatal, yet slowly the ship began to stabilize. The pulses weakened. Gravity returned to normal. Energy flows smoothed. The shadow paused near the viewport, massive and still. Ethan whispered, "Captain, it's working. The chamber is stabilizing. We did it." Daniel nodded slowly. "Not just survived, we've proven ourselves. Calm, intelligent, united. Humanity adapts. Humanity survives." Megan's fingers flew over the console one last time, sending a final signal, matching the rhythm, the pulses, the light patterns. The shadow pulsed back once, a wave of energy that rippled through the chamber. It was gentle, almost comforting. The crew could feel it in their bones, though it was not physical. Olivia said quietly, "It's acknowledging us, not attacking, not testing, recognizing." Ryan let out a low whistle. "I don't know what it is, Captain, but I think we just earned respect, or something like it." Ethan's eyes were wide. "Captain, I've never seen anything like this. It's showing us images, memories, or history. Cities, machines, landscapes, cycles of growth and decay, but it's beautiful in a way I can't describe, and it's sharing it with us." Daniel stared at the viewport, awe filling him. "It's communicating, not with words, but with patterns, energy, and understanding. It's showing that it sees us as more than creatures, more than weak humans." The shadow moved slowly, retreating to the far side of the chamber. It remained immense but less imposing. The chamber's energy was calm, gravity stable, systems fully functional. For the first time, the Horizon Vanguard felt entirely safe. Megan exhaled slowly. "It's done, for now." Ryan shook his head, disbelief in his voice. "Done after all that done? Can't believe it." Daniel nodded, though his face was serious. "It's done for now. But we must record everything, every pulse, every signal, every adaptation. Humanity has survived its first true test." Ethan traced the energy patterns with his fingers. "Captain, I think it's not just a test. It's a lesson. Patience, intelligence, adaptation, cooperation. These are what it values. This is why we survived. Not by weapons, not by force, but by thinking, by learning, by working together." Olivia adjusted her console. "Captain, long-range sensors are picking up other structures in the distance. Shadows moving, but less intense. Perhaps they've noticed us too. Our presence is no longer hidden." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Then humanity has been noticed, and we've shown what we can do, but this is only the beginning. The galaxy is larger, older, and more dangerous than we imagined. And yet we have survived our first encounter. We have proven ourselves." Ryan's voice was quiet but firm. "Captain, I never thought I'd say this, but proud to be human right now. We faced something we couldn't fight, something that could have ended us, and we survived." Megan smiled faintly. "We didn't just survive, we adapted, we responded. We showed that humans are clever, patient, and capable." Daniel looked at his crew, pride and resolve in his eyes. "Exactly. Humanity survives not because we are the strongest, but because we learn. We adapt, we cooperate. That is our greatest strength, and today we've shown it to something far beyond our understanding." Ethan looked at the patterns again. "Captain, it's leaving us a final gift. Energy flows through the chamber, stabilizing the ship. Systems are now enhanced in ways I can't fully explain. Power distribution, shields, navigation, all improved. The entity has upgraded us." Daniel exhaled slowly. "Then we take what it gives us, learn from it, use it wisely, and continue humanity's journey." Outside the viewport, the shadow pulsed one final time. It was immense, ancient, unknowable. And then, slowly, it retreated into the darkness of the chamber. The crew could feel its presence still lingering, but it no longer pressed against them. Olivia said softly, "Captain, it's watching still, but it's at peace, for now." Daniel nodded. "Yes, for now. Humanity has survived its first contact, and we've done so without violence, without fear, without failure. That is the greatest victory we could hope for." Megan tapped her console. "Communications are clear now. Earth can hear us. They need to know what happened. They need to know humanity has survived and learned." Ryan grinned faintly. "And they'll need to know we're ready for the next challenge. Whatever comes next, we can handle it." Ethan looked at the shadow one last time. "Captain, I think it has given us more than survival. It's given us knowledge, guidance, a chance to grow beyond what we were. Humanity has been marked as capable, worthy, for now at least." Daniel stood at the command rail, gazing at the immense chamber, the fading patterns of light, and the lingering presence of the shadow. "Humanity is small, fragile, and new in this galaxy, but we are clever, we adapt, we survive. And we will continue to do so, no matter what waits in the stars." The crew of the Horizon Vanguard felt a quiet pride. They had faced something they could not fight, something beyond human comprehension. They had adapted, cooperated, and survived. And in doing so, they had proven humanity's first true value in the galaxy. The chamber was silent now, calm. The shadow had withdrawn, but Daniel knew it had not gone. It was watching, patient and immense, waiting to see what humanity would do next. And the Horizon Vanguard, humanity's Titan-class warship, would continue its journey. Stronger, wiser, and more aware than ever. Humanity had survived the first test, and in that survival they had shown the galaxy what they were capable of. Outside the chamber, distant stars twinkled. Somewhere far away, other shadows stirred. Humanity had been noticed. The first encounter had ended, but the future had only begun. Daniel Brooks exhaled slowly. "Prepare to leave the chamber. Full systems check. We report everything to Earth, and then we continue." The crew moved with purpose. The Horizon Vanguard powered its engines fully for the first time in the chamber. Lights steadied. Systems hummed normally. Humanity had survived. Humanity had learned. And humanity would continue to rise step by step, challenge by challenge in the vast, unknowable universe. And somewhere in the darkness, the shadow pulsed once more. Not in anger, not in fear, but in recognition. Humanity had been tested, and humanity had endured.